Okay, so today I'm going to continue my unblinking, unflinching, unchanging deck with to do with hexproof, and the white one is kind of a little more disorganized, but I'm still doing it just for the sake of it. So this whole expansion has been me playing as my two least favorite colors and just forcing myself to be tortured by them. But I will say that hexproof is obviously one of my favorite mechanics ever in anything, just as, you know, whether it's called that or not, just immunity to spells and whatever traps and tricks like other games have, Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever. And so the point is that as much as I like that mechanic, I don't like blue, so it's kind of an interesting compromise where I have a love-hate relationship. But obviously it's just, you don't have a choice because the majority of hexproof cards in the game are going to be blue, kill creatures, creature spells. That's fine. That's most of what I do anyway, so we'll kind of go between the two and see which one does better. Right, as we typically do. Let's do a best of 3, timeless here. Yeah, I haven't really enjoyed the white one at all because I didn't have as clear of a theme for it. It's meant to be more like just something to do with buffing, maybe buffing and flying. This one's to do with hexproof and ward only. Like, that's all I have in here. Even like, oh, if I have certain spells, those spells also have to say hexproof or ward on them, otherwise I can't have them in here. But it's a very clear criteria of what I'm using, and so we should be coming up with the next expansion pretty soon. I, for some reason, can never ever remember, and it doesn't really matter, but I'll do a 10k draft as soon as it comes out, or maybe I won't because I don't even have 10k gold. 21 days. Okay, we got plenty of time. Yeah, also none of, oh wait, why did it go back to, no, it's blue, never mind. Like sometimes I'll try to make more of a point to play longer or do the daily quest more efficiently every time, just so that I can get to like the rank 30 or whatever on the orbs in the reward track, just so you get like a certain cosmetic from that little orb reward track thing. But obviously I couldn't do that because, or I didn't bother this time because there was no cosmetics that actually interested me at all. So all I like to do here is we'll do one best of 3 with each to see which one does better. And I won't have time once again to do Magic Online, which I kind of like as a sort of secondary condition too, with respect to kind of dangerous because the land is going to be a problem, but it's okay. Oh yeah, what I said I might have done, I keep forgetting and I keep being lazy about it. I said I could make a new deck today that's going to be multiple copies of the same thing. Right, so let me actually see that after this. Well, now I kind of screwed it up by doing this. Maybe I'll do it next time for like the final episode, but we have 3 more weeks, so that means at least we're going to do probably 2 more episodes of this ever, and then I'll never play as blue or white again, potentially. No, I'll still look through it here just as like a bonus thing. Or maybe only if blue wins the best of 3, which it always does anyway, because the white one sucks even worse. But no, what we would do is we can put multiple copies of the same card in there instead of just only having one of each just for the sake of it or whatever I have. So the way that, you know, sometimes I have different ones just for the variety of it, not because I actually think they're better. So I could have like more of the lower cost ones because I keep getting mana screwed. Alright, so I can get rid of a lot of these high cost ones that are just not very good. Again, I like hexproof, but I don't exactly vouch for the value of some of these. And again, blue is far less efficient than white, or than green is ever going to be, which is my favorite color, obviously, both in real life and the game, kind of. I've always been sort of split between green and orange as my favorite colors. Ask somebody who's playing this game for the first time before they know how the color system works or whatever, what's your favorite color? And they'll say something stupid like me, you know, oh, haha, my favorite color is orange, but there is no such thing as orange in this game. Or yeah, imagine if they add like a 6th color. That would be like adding the fairy type to Pokemon, where, you know, it's been the same thing for so long and they finally add a new type and it's such a big deal and everybody's mad about it or something. How progressive for them to add fairies in there. Reconfigure attach. What is this? Discard 2 cards. I don't even want to do that. I don't think I've ever even really used that. And just to be clear, as much as people might say, oh, timeless is so hard or whatever and you shouldn't do it, and of course my decks are always so bad, etc., the fact of the matter is, if the target player has fewer than 9, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. Even if you did that, where's your other one gonna come from? You probably have a way to do it, but even though this thing mentions poison, nothing he has actually has toxic on it. Cheap viewers? No, I prefer fancy viewers myself. High class viewers. Okay, that's fine. That's fine too. Whatever. But no, like I have beaten some of these people at least at times, not very often, but every once in a while, even if they're gold, even if I only win one game out of the set, it means like it's not impossible for me to win, but it just means that much more, I suppose, when I do. And again, I'm just doing it within my criteria, so it doesn't matter. Right? I'm always less concerned about the outcome than I am with the overall experience of whatever, dude. Then the, you know, the way that I'm doing it is more important than just whether I win or lose. Rivendell, activate only if you control legendary creature. Scry for 2. The location of the classic meeting between Elrond and everybody where Gimli tries to just destroy the ring, which that's mostly in the movie. I don't even know what. I've read the books, but it's been so long that I should forget. But there's so many differences. That was one thing. I used to review movies, so I really criticized that trilogy for changing so many things about the books. It's not even that the movies are bad. It's just that they completely changed the essence of so many things. Like Saruman dying on the tower there in the second movie. He doesn't die at all, and he ends up burning the Shire at the end of the story even after Sauron is dead. So I understand, like, okay, they want to change it because it's tonally different or something, right? But like they want it to be a celebratory tone, and they don't want to have that happen. But it's also such a drastic change. It's one thing if you change like something minor in a scene, but to change the whole essence, like a character dies at a vastly different point, completely different circumstance. Yeah, basically what I'll do is I'll get rid of all the higher cost things and try to have more copies of the lower cost ones, but the point is it's not even really going to work because I don't have enough of them to change around, but I'll try to do it anyway. This ends up taking so long too. Like if I do an hour session, I can barely get through like 2 best of 3s anyway. You know, sometimes you should just resign because you kind of know the way it's going, but I generally try not to do that. Like this alone should just be my undoing. It wouldn't take that much. I prefer Gaia from Yu-Gi-Oh! Myself. G-A-I-A instead of G-A-E-A. Gaia, the Fierce Knight, where you top deck it with an empty hand and you can just play it for free. I love the number values in Yu-Gi-Oh! They were so random, like just 2,500, and you're dealing in the thousands instead of, you know, 1 or whatever. That's one thing I like about this game, is that everything is like a much more realistic, down-to-earth number, right? You're dealing with small numbers like 1 through 10 to 20 in just a very basic sense. Some of these games kind of lose sight of that, where, you know, you're starting, you get to the point of like million damage values where it becomes arbitrary. This will force him to attack, but I'm not sure that I even really want that to happen. That's going to pretty much guarantee me to die. This is like the anti-BM card. They can't just hold back and not attack, even if they want to, because, you know, you are going to force them to potentially kill you. So that whole poison thing didn't even matter. They didn't even use that, really. This would be good to force stuff to trade in, this is actually one of my favorite cards in the game, just for that reason, that it turns the whole basis of this game on its head, where I can't attack their minions, so even if I want to try to board control, I can't. I just let them keep doing whatever they're doing. They're going to keep summoning more, infinite number of tokens, they're going to buff stuff up, etc., keep exploiting their effects. This forces you to actually fight stuff out on the board, like how you would have to do in a regular game, where I could just choose to attack them or something, but you know, it does actually have a very good relevance to my style of play. What I like is to fight stuff out on the board like a real man, unlike all of these fucking players. Even if I was to try to survive, I can't block that, so it's fine. Okay, let's just not go 0 and 2, because we've shown that we're clearly capable of beating a gold player, even in timeless mode. I've beaten them in a set too before, I'm pretty sure, with this even same deck, but typically I'll win like one game at least, and that feels like a triumph. You know, you have a decent amount of land, but you don't have enough minions to actually play, so I don't fucking know. But no, like I need 4 of those 1-cost fairies, and I need 4 of the invisible stalker and things like that. But I don't know if I have enough wild cards to actually do that. It's just so stupid, man. I have like every hexproof card in the game, or at least every blue hexproof card, and none of them are like low cost or efficient. They all fucking suck. Look at this shit, dude. It's a good effect, obviously, but it doesn't mean it should come at such a cost, like 5 mana, 2/5. Yeah, see, that's the trick that we're talking about. Like, this is such a good card because you actually get to do something valuable. Like, even though it can't attack for a few turns, that's still a very cheap, efficient, good cost card. Good value, which I never associate with white or blue or anything actually besides green, where you just get good stat values, just period. It's just built into how green works at really no extra cost aside from, oh, you just have to be using green, period. Like, you know, now we could attack, or no, we could attack and then untap at the same time, so you basically have vigilance, right? If this is the best we can do with our mana. We're on the threshold of actually being able to play something, but I just can't do it. Yeah, 1 mana 3/3. Never have you dreamed of such a value, even if it comes at a cost. Like that one, there is a card for green. Ah, fuck me. There is a card for green that I was using like that, but... And you could have killed it potentially between those two. Whatever. There's like a 1 mana 3/3 that lets your opponent summon get like a free land from their deck or something like that. This has got to be the most unusual first playthrough effectively of this game though that anybody's ever seen, but this is why I didn't want to rush into anything, and it's going to be around for a long time. The one game that I do feel like I have to rush a little bit is PvZ Heroes, because if I want to get to rank 50 or whatever, I better do it soon because the game might not be around for too long. Whereas with this, you'll always be able to do that. You should be able to block this just fine. It's not actually too bad, but they have simply too much flying and too many things on the board, period, that I just can't deal with that. So is white actually going to outperform blue? But no, I should always make that deck so I have it ready for next time, so we're able to basically, you know... Are you serious, bro? Okay. And I kind of need the flying sometimes to get damage in because you're not able to do anything. Right, whether I have hexproof or not, it doesn't guarantee that I'm going to have a good enough board position to win or anything like that. So I have to keep getting in little sneak bits of damage whenever I can. And so you have to assume that they don't have a way to remove your stuff, but typically they won't because it's hexproof anyway. And you have to also assume they don't have a way to... block all your flying stuff. And it kind of goes together because if they can't remove it, and they don't have any flying stuff of their own, there's nothing they can do about it. Okay, you don't have to go overboard too much, just end it. Or are they somehow not going to have lethal now because they tapped some shit unnecessarily? Creature with flying attacks, draw a card. Even this is not like the greatest value card in its original state. Is it really still a printed card if it's fucking digital? Okay, so we went 0 and 2, which is a little bit surprising. That one's at least usually good for at least one game of the set. So we'll try the white one, and then we'll try to build one of these. I don't even really care about the white one as much, but I'll try to build one of these that's actually able to have multiple copies of the same thing, mainly the low-cost ones. Maybe I already tried to do that, and I just didn't have enough copies of them, period, to do it. But no, I've had an urge to play Magic Online because I just played it a couple times to sort of open the door of me potentially doing it. But the reason why I didn't do it is because, or you know, I want this to still be my regular series that I'm doing so I can do daily quests and keep improving my collection, etc. But if I had more time in these sessions, I would do it. Or again, if I meet that condition, I've been trying to do it like, if I win one of these best of threes, that's all I have to do, and then I earn the right to be able to play it this session. But I would say like, oh, it would earn me the right to play it next session then, but it doesn't make sense because then I would still want to do this. Again, just for whatever reason, just daily quests and stuff. I have to get up to 10k gold, obviously, but I have a couple weeks to do it, so it's not a big deal. Right, I've been lazy on even doing the daily quests because the main reason to do them is to gain experience so that I can get closer to the reward track if there's something on there that I want, like the cosmetic. Just for gold's sake, it's good too, but that's kind of a twofold problem. Like, I can only do 3 daily quests a week because I only play once a week, so that's the most you're gonna have. But then when I get lazy, I don't even feel like doing those. Right, so I won't even do 3 in a week. How do I get land screwed this much? Something is weird, man. Like, you know, I always have a good amount of shit in my deck. Like, I have at least 20 out of 60 cards or lands, or sometimes even more than that. Tap target creature for 4, which is not really very good. Insert some sort of meme that probably people have made in Magic over the years. Like, I'd tap that, haha. Make like a little TikTok, like this game advertises their TikTok. I'd tap that, but not in the way that you think. Literally the state of humor in 2024. Like, this is how stupid people are. Like this Hawk Tua girl that people are just spamming shit about her everywhere. Literally have a PvZ hero streamer fucking using it as a thumbnail. Like, what the fuck are we doing, dude? Or no, I shouldn't have even bothered doing it with this. Yes, plus X with 0 or X is his toughness. I might actually end up doing it just because I can't do anything else. Wait, this is a card that maybe we've seen a lot. Right, even though it's timeless mode and you have every card in the history of the game at your disposal, people will still narrow it down to using the same shit over and over. Or we gotta use this effect, or wait, you're not gonna let me use it? So I'm just gonna beat you with this in like 5 turns, just don't do anything about it. Right, like imagine he actually has no answer for that. Be almost the greatest defeat to an armadillo since me and my first playthrough, or not first playthrough, but my first permanent attempt of my favorite game of all time, Donkey Kong 64, where I lose to Armadillo and fucking Jungle Javes. Just because I'm not used to controlling it that way, or because I'm not using a controller, or because whatever. It's because I'm a clown, and also is that really worth it though? I guess they really didn't have an answer for it. It's the simple fact that it did like some sort of juke angle that I wasn't expecting. Like, whatever, you're kind of running around it in a circle and he's shooting like in a straight line that you get kind of cut off by it. You get 2 of these. What are these things even called? That little energy symbol. You don't see that too often. But yeah, that shows you Hearthstone's really casual and kid-friendly compared to this game, that they never acknowledged having a graveyard for a super long time. Even now, they still really don't acknowledge it. You can resurrect stuff from the imaginary graveyard, but it doesn't really even show it to you properly. You gotta call it the capture pile or the discard pile, right, to be more like a euphemism for return a permanent to its owner's hand. Okay, fine. It doesn't really matter. This is not very encouraging either, so we're going to go 0 and 2 with both of them, I guess, the way that this is going. Which lets me do a tie break, I guess, but then I almost don't even want to. Or I won't have time to because of look how insanely long some of these things go on for. I don't even want to do that shit. But look how slow their pace is. No matter what they do, that now they're going to get an instant win condition, whatever. But I've had enough time to potentially kill them if I just had more of an aggro mentality, which is sometimes what everything devolves into, even if it's not the intention of my deck. You just have to play like that because you're not going to win in the long term. What are these? They don't even tell you what it's called. Sacrifice to draw a card. That'd be worth it because my hand is just so fucked up. No, I almost should be playing online just because, you know, Magic Online, it's kind of more, maybe not even more beginner friendly, but it's more what I'm looking for with like sort of using older school cards and stuff from the entirety and the entire history of the game. Which again, why you wouldn't have that option here still, I don't know. How would it hurt? You could just lock it behind a format that you can't use it except in a certain format like this, like timeless mode or historic mode. Timeless and historic are basically the same thing. It's just that historic maybe has a few cards excluded for some sort of illusion of balance that they try to go for. And of course, lifesteal kind of wrecks me too, because my only chance of winning is just in a linear sense of just doing a certain amount of damage. We do have a lot of low-cost cards with this one, though. I guess you can't complain. But the whole idea was to try to get through unmitigatable damage that you could just keep doing over and over with respect to flying, that if they don't have flying stuff or whatever stuff on the board, like with hexproof, if you can't if they can't target it, they can't remove it, you're gonna get a certain amount of damage in. Hey Rack, how's it going? Okay, this is fine. But yeah, like I wasn't able to find any buffs in the whole game that are, or at least for white, that are actually good permanent buffs for low cost. They're all either super expensive or they're all like very they all just are until the end of the turn, so that doesn't really do any good for me. I was almost trying to mesh that with Invisible Stalker, like a OTK. I'm sure there is a way to do it. I just couldn't figure out exactly what card would be the best to use, like that Devil's Valet type thing. But you would use Invisible Stalker and just keep beating on them and they can't do anything about it, especially in the early game. But just buff it up to the point where it's going to one-shot them, or just about, and sort of again rub it in their face how good hexproof is in this game. Because in most card games, if you have like a spell immune effect like hexproof or elusive like in Hearthstone, the trade-off is they can't target it with spells, but you can't target it either. But in this game, you actually can. So, you know, that is the ultimate troll sort of combination of effects. The fact that you can not only can you not target it, can you target it, but they can't target it, but then it also can't be blocked. So in other words, if you get it to a high enough health value, there's really nothing they can do about it, except for one of the few AoEs that might just destroy everything on the board without targeting it, but still. Anthems that buff all creatures across the board. I'm not really new to the game, but I've kind of mostly used just gimmick stuff that I find interesting rather than stuff that's going to be good. But yeah, not even something that buffs everything. It's more so just something that buffs efficiently or permanently, right? I'm surprised how few cards there are like that. Or it must be like a minion effect that would do it better. Like there's a lot of these that are, if you heal something, it buffs it. Every time something gets healed, every time something enters the battlefield, you heal, and then every time you heal, you that's one that triggered me because I saw it a lot early on. It must just be some budget deck that everybody was using for a while, especially in historic. So you summon something, it heals something, then it buffs something as a result of being healed. So my hatred for white comes maybe more so from that, just because it was overused and I don't really like healing too much as a mechanic. Or this game somehow finds a way to make healing less enjoyable than it otherwise would be. Oh, I guess the +1/+1 is permanent with this maybe, because only the vigilance is till end of turn. Because you can't heal stuff on the board, so like you trade in and then it's left with a little bit less health. So there's an interesting dynamic to that. But it ends up not really being very rewarding because everything auto heals already. Why not just remove everything they play and control the field? That will remove... No, but that was just like one intention that I had wanted to try. And I'm not a big fan of using removal actually, in general. And especially with these two colors, they at least, especially blue, is very heavy on that. Why not? It's just kind of a style of play preference. Not that I've never used stuff like that, but generally I prefer playing on the board and stuff like that, which is why I like green so much. But I'm kind of taking a break from playing green, Just with all the dinosaurs and the good statting and the, you know, playing on the board. Okay, we're actually doing fine here. He's clearly going to lose to these two shitty things. Or at least I should use the armadillo as a fact, which can get kind of out of hand. Right, we'll turn this into some sort of divine spirit inner fire thing. +1/+1. Just do that for now. Yeah, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do this, but it is super expensive. So maybe I'll wait a little bit. See, even like flying, I'm trying to get it. Yeah, because that's really... Wow. What a great card that would have been. He can't allow me to play that. This white one has been even more disappointing than anything else. Like, at least the blue one I find enjoyable and, like, thematically consistent. This one is just completely aimless. Or, like, I started off by trying to do a hybrid between the two. You know, sort of punishing myself with my two least favorite colors. But it ended up being a case where I really should just keep doing that 6 attack thing for now. What was that effect even? I don't even know. Enters the battle. Oh, I should have... No, I don't want to return it to my hand. What do you call it? Like, I did them together, combining like half blue, half white, and then I just separated them and did them by themselves now. Why am I upset by counter magic? I'm not upset by it, but I just kind of prefer... Yeah, like that. I prefer to just use stuff more so and fight stuff out on the board, right, rather than AoEs or removal. Like, in fact, in this deck, in both of these decks, I might not have any removal because... Or even my removal, like Master's Rebuke is a great example. I want my removal to still be based on the board, right? Like, the fact that I have a minion allows me to then use its attack as the removal rather than just having something on its own. But no, it's just more a preference. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, or... I think over time, the longer a game is out, though, it ends up going from a novelty, like, okay, every class or every color will have a certain amount of removal, to where it becomes, like, way too much, where everybody has way too many options all the time, a million different AoEs. That's kind of what's happened with Hearthstone, where, you know, you would expect, okay, a mage is going to have Flame Strike or whatever, but now it's become just way over the top, where you can have 100, you know, good board positions, and it just never matters, because they have an answer for everything. But it goes back to, like, the innate, maybe, like, why people would call me Kaiba Jr., like in Yu-Gi-Oh!, where I just love playing on the board. I want to summon, like, something big and just win because of that. But that obviously never works. It's like what would be anticlimactic in the show. Like, oh, you know, Kaiba summons his Blue Eyes White Dragon, and he's about to win. But then, oh, you just use some basic removal card, like Hammer Shot or Smashing Ground. Right? They typically won't do that in the show because that would be anticlimactic. But in real life, that's exactly what would happen. You summon this wow crazy 10 mana 10/10 and they just use like a 2-cost card to just kill it, right? That doesn't make for very good storytelling. Like, look, we got him to 4 health so easily, just like that. But now we're gonna get fucked and lose to lifelink if anything else. Because yeah, I can't deal with that when it's already such a damage race. I can't deal with the fact if they heal. So you're mad that there's too many options. I'm not really mad about it. I might just have a certain preference. But no, like with the whole power creep over time, or just the card bloat can always be bad because, you know, for somebody especially who hasn't played this game historically, I've only played it like a little on and off for the last 2 years, or maybe a year and a half. You know, I never really got to experience the true original experience of the game, so that would be the reason why I would dislike that. Right, I'd want to play like that legacy mode in Magic Online just to sort of see an earlier, more pure state of the game, and then you can obviously do all this stuff later. It's kind of a bad first way to experience the game, because even like what I'm doing is like I'm just using stuff that I find interesting. I'm not really trying to ladder or anything, but you'll still get destroyed by these people who are try-hard clowns, which this guy doesn't seem like one, because this deck is not really all that impressive. But you know, it's sometimes more important, like, you want to win your way than just simply winning. Anybody can just net deck and shit. Although maybe I wouldn't be able to, because I've crafted my collection in such a way that is, again, just preferential. Like, oh, that card's cool. Not that it's actually the best thing to really build. So, as someone who's been playing the game for, yeah, see, that's the difference, for 30 years. You are coming at Magic from the wrong perspective. You're saying you're not on ladder. Well, like, I'm not trying to ladder, though. That's the difference. I'm just playing something that I want to play. Or yeah, people kept saying don't play in timeless mode because you'll get your ass beat even harder, but that's still the same thing. That I want to use like whatever variety of cards, all the cards in the history of the game. But no, I always call for, like, in any game, a format that allows you to just use only like older cards. So like have a format that's like, okay, you can only use cards from the first 3 expansions of the game or something like that and keep rotating it. And for some reason games just don't do that. Like Yu-Gi-Oh never does that. Hearthstone kind of has maybe sort of tried to do that, at least like with the classic thing, and now maybe with Twist. It should just always be an option that you have, whether again it's somebody who's new to the game who wants to experience it from the beginning effectively, or you just feel like going back and doing a sort of a nostalgia trip is always a good thing. People are playing to win. If you can't deal with that, then you're not in the right format. Brawl is the format made for you. 80 card formats are competitive. 80 card, but this is like a 60 card to 250 card, isn't it? But first off, we're not Hearthstone or Yu-Gi-Oh, you're a different game. I know, but that's just what my experience lies. I played those more than this, but you know, card games are still just a genre that I like a lot. People are playing to win, but see, you could say the same thing. I'm playing to win, but I'm playing to win within the context of what I want to use. Right, so that comes first. So I'm not playing to win when I'm building my deck, but I'm playing to win once we actually are in the game still. What did he say? If you can't deal with that, you're not in the right format. Yeah, what is Brawl, though? I'll look at it. But I also like the element of just seeing more card variety. Not that people always even do that, but timeless mode is going to have at least the greatest potential for that. But no, yeah, the whole legacy aspect is my point. Is like a format that would restrict you to only using cards from certain sets. Right, that would be such a fun option to have. Brawl is a 100 card singleton format. It's the most diverse format. Okay, I'll look at it. I don't think I've really played that. I mostly have just only played Historic, and I haven't even really played Standard at all. Because again, it wouldn't make any difference to me as far as using the newer cards, because pretty much everything was new to me. We got him pretty low, but look how long this goes on. Like, you know he's gonna win, but just do it quickly, dude. Solitude, my favorite town in Skyrim. Probably not really, but okay, hurry up, dude. But yeah, that's a card game that I never played enough, was Elder Scrolls Legends, and it kind of died out more than I would have expected. They kind of gave up on it like only a year in, surprisingly. Yeah, this was a card game that I totally missed out on when it was current. Maybe it was a little too early on for me, or I just kind of sort of skipped it and played Yu-Gi-Oh instead. And then, of course, everybody accuses Hearthstone of copying this game, which obviously it does in some ways, but it at least came full circle a little bit. This game has copied Hearthstone a little bit as of late with some of the recent expansions, like that stupid, what was it called? The Thunder Junction with respect to, what was it in Hearthstone? Like the Badlands. Not saying that you couldn't have two of the same subject matters, but just the timing of it was like right back to back. Right, Castle Nathria into whatever. They had Castle Nathria turned into Murder at Karlov Manor. Even the name is like exactly the same. I don't get it. Why they would make it so on the nose. Okay, dude. How are you not just winning? Yeah, they would have both gone 0 and 2, so I guess I can do a tie break. But I'll look at that Brawl thing. 100 cards seems like almost too much, though. Which, of course, you can use here anyway. I love that fact that you can use anywhere between 60 and 250, so that That'll mix up the meta at least a little bit. Although I imagine on average the majority of people use 60 cards exactly, because the same principle is true in most card games, that you want to use the fewest cards as possible just to, you know, maximize whatever your best combo plays, etc. So even in Yu-Gi-Oh you have the option between 40 and 60, but then nobody's going to use more than 40. But that is a very wide range, right? Between 60 and 250 is insane. You skipped over the formats made for newer players to learn and come to terms with the concepts of the game. Jumped right into the pro mode. I'm not really complaining though. I'm just saying more so there are certain restrictive formats that I would like. You jumped in too deep. Sure, you want to play with old cards, but the fact of the matter is you don't have the 20 plus years of knowledge to help you into the format. You're losing because you're bad, not because things are cheap. You know, my decks are bad, but oftentimes it is deliberate. Like, I'm obviously could make better ones. Even within my knowledge, I just sometimes have certain preferences that I'm trying to play for. And I'm not really that new, I guess, even now. Right, I have played it like a little bit, at least on and off, but then make better ones. But, you know, sometimes I've done that. But, like, with the green one, I got to Platinum in Historic mode, which is not even a big deal, but at least that's a little better. And that was, like, pretty early on. Okay, so that's the 0 and 2. Let's see what this is, actually. This is orb that I don't really care about. Okay, we almost have the 10k for the draft, too. Brawl, okay. Build a 100-card singleton deck of eternally legal cards centered around a legendary creature or your planeswalker commander. Okay, let's give this one a try, then. Brawl or standard brawl. Recent cards, I don't really care about that.
You'll need to build a deck with a commander.
I apparently had this, so I must have played with this before. But again, how much does this really restrict you, I wonder? I wonder what my theme to this was too.
While historic brawl requires 100 cards and can use almost any card on arena.
Almost any card, okay. Let's just play a game and just see what we're kind of going up against. I feel like I don't have enough lands in that one though, because I only have 31 lands in a 100-card deck. But yeah, I like the zero-sum mentality that people have, because even in games where I've done that, like, okay, I've metagamed and been to legend rank, etc., and Hearthstone or something, it doesn't mean that I always want to do that. Then you sometimes want to, you know, you want to mess around with other sort of fun gimmick ideas. You don't always just want to use the same thing. So with this game, I was kind of trying to ease my way into that. I don't want to do it right away and rush ahead. Let's see. Okay, so we have some good low-cost stuff. This might have been the one with all 4 of the Sarkans in there. So the commander mechanic works like you always have it. This commander will cost 0 more the next time you play it from the command zone. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Okay, we don't need to worry about that. This deck is probably going to be pretty garbage as well. Yeah, let's try to judge the quality of the decks that we have here with respect to... But no, I don't see how playing at bronze, you know, regardless of the format, how is playing at bronze rank really playing the most competitive tryhard version of the game, right? You would not expect that to be a big deal until you get, like, much higher rank, which I typically don't get very much past gold or something. So just simply playing on the ladder, period, is not inherently competitive because... there's an expectation that the lower rank you are, it's not going to be that good. So I don't see the point of playing an unranked, right? It's basically the same thing. You're playing at a low rank. And usually you don't get, like, as good rewards and stuff. Okay, let's see. We summon this. Or I'm kind of breaking my rule that I'm actually supposed to play as... only like white and blue here, but whatever, I'll make an exception, or at least maybe I should make the same hexproof sort of idea here with this one. Not entirely sure how this is going to work, but the whole idea is that you can just kind of keep playing it over and over, even if it gets a little more expensive. So that's probably why I chose the cheapest Sarkhan, because I am pretty sure I have all 4 of them in here. Yissa and Geralt. Okay, we can just play it. So what is it going to be? If you discard a card, add 2 mana, any combination. And there's not really much else I can't... No, I guess I'll still just keep playing stuff on curve for now. That's fine. Strangle. Let's just wait. Even creating the 4/5/5s is a pretty fun effect, but it's not really going to happen very often. They're not going to just let me get to that point. I love how when I first made Sarkhan, like, I had seen somebody else use it. I'm like, oh, I want to make that. And then I look it up and make one, right, in the collection. But then, oh, I made the wrong one because I didn't realize there were 4 of them. So then I was like, fuck it, I'll just make all 4 of them. Okay, this is fine. We should be able to do it now. Except they're just going to tear through it. You can go here and...
Feel the lick of my flames.
Fine, let's discard some garbage that I'm not going to use for a while.
I don't need this. I need this.
+2, +0 is fine. Okay, another land. Let's just wait a little bit. Can't really do anything with that. So... Okay, let's just wait. This commander... Fuck, stop doing that. This commander will cost 2 more next time it's cast from the command zone. But yeah, this game always does have a reputation of being sort of a try-hard, more serious card game. Also, they have the best cosmetics for anybody. My Little Pony crossover and shit like that. That maybe doesn't match the serious tone, but... But no, I never really construe that as like me complaining about something. It's more like just a preference. I don't mind if I lose even, right? Like, or like that's even the expectation that I would have, that you have, you know, I don't expect that I'm going to win given sometimes the nature of a lot of my decks, but I'm still fine with it. I think we can get pretty far with this though still. Discard a card, let's see. Like with the count, we can just kill both of these and then block the other 2 for now. So it'll be like 1 or 2 turns short, assuming I can't actually summon something better. This guy always reminds me of the dragons that come to the, what is that called? Like the Wrath Gate, where they come and purify it after everybody fights. I love that one argument that people always have about Lord of the Rings. Why didn't they just have the eagles come and fly the ring in? Or fly Frodo in with the ring? Right, because they clearly are shown just going in there after the fact. But, you know, oh, Sauron has an air force and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't stop, you know, anybody else from coming. Well, it doesn't stop Frodo from sneaking in through the mountains or whatever. And, like, how unguarded Mount Doom actually is. Even if it's like, oh, Sauron didn't expect anybody to, you know, ever try to destroy the ring or to be able to destroy the ring. But... why not still just build a fucking door around it or something? This one is deals 3 damage to target creature. I guess we can do this. Which Sarkhan do you focus on now? Right, so many choices. But again, we'll even get that one back, so it doesn't matter. I don't think I'll even be able to use that, so that was a waste, but I don't want to really discard anything. I'm obviously going to lose this, but I would rather try to understand, like, what exactly is the limitation, though? The stupid Wisp tried to explain it, but... he's still saying that you can use almost any card in the game, so that still isn't going to necessarily create the legacy aspect. Let's see. Find match, go to Brawl. 100 deck single of eternally legal cards. 100 cards using a commander. Let me, like, look. If I was to try to build a deck, like, what is it going to limit me with? Like, pretend I was making a green deck, for example. Okay, it does clearly limit it, though, because I have way more green cards than this if you were looking at Historic or Timeless. But you can still use, like, really strong shit. It's not like it's going to limit you that much. Right, this is the new Galta that I had gotten only a couple expansions ago. Right, with the Caverns of Zixalan or whatever. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, let me try to do maybe the tie break, even though this is going to take all day with the way... Or no, actually, maybe I should just make the... Like, let me see how much better I can make this for the blue deck, or at least with, like, multiple copies of the same thing. So, for example... Yeah, the Brawl thing could be good, but I kind of have enjoyed the Timeless mode, too. Or even Historic was pretty fun because... Yeah, see, look how few hexproof cards there actually are, because I have most of them. Some cards might mention it, but they're not actually hexproof in the way that I want them to be. Let me just try to make multiple copies of the same thing. As many as I can have. I don't really have that many wild cards to use, though, here. So, Timeless. Like, let me see, actually, for a second. If I was to go to a Brawl deck... Fuck. If we were to go to a Brawl deck, what would I do? What would I be able to use, for example, for this gimmick idea? So go Brawl and then go Hexproof. How much would it really limit me? See, like, we're already fucked because we can't... What? You're just not allowed to use Hexproof as a mechanic at all. It just ruins it. What the fuck? And again, it's not like that's for very good, high-quality purposes. Okay, fine. So we'll do just multiple copies of the same blue thing that I'm trying to do, which is... Okay, Timeless... Hexproof and even Ward is fine, but maybe I won't need to as much now. So we want 4 Invisible Stalkers, which we already have. We want multiple copies of that other one, which is the Fairy. Wait, where is it? Oh, they're not actually even Hexproof. They're Ward. You want 4 copies of this, which I unfortunately can't even make. And I feel bad for even wasting any more wild cards on this stuff because... Yeah, this isn't going to be that much better than what I really thought. Flying, that's not going to be hexproof either, award. But the whole idea would be to make as many low-cost things as you can, just so we actually have stuff to play. Even as dumb as this seems, I'll still just do it. It's not going to be that different than what I was already using. And I'll maybe go with the 24 lands that it just defaults to. Because I always get mana screwed so much. So we'll only go with the top end here, where, like, you know, these are the highest cost cards that we're going to have. That Frost Giant is kind of cool. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, I guess we can do that. Or no, I was even saying I should stop right around there. So nothing above 5 cost, if I can help it, but we are going to have... Let me try Hexproof again. It's not really going to change that much. But we'll win some games just from the Invisible Stalker alone. If it just get... Yeah, we're already fucked. We'll do 4 of each of these. There's still 5 cost. We'll do the Mythic one that I wasted a card on. We'll do 4 of these. Again, these are still way too high cost. 5. Maybe I'll do a few. Let's just do maybe these 4, because I like the one turtle so much. Let's try it like that. So we'll give it... Let's just do a best of 3 with that one, period. So we'll accept that the tie break is non-conclusive. That really didn't make that much of a difference at all. Timeless ranked, best of 3. Or we could just do 1. How about that? It doesn't really even matter. Yeah, I'll stick with these generally still, though, till the end of this expansion. But see, there's always this fun factor that I go for. Not only am I not typically complaining about that, I'm actually enjoying it more than if I was to just use something. Or there's always like a time and a place, right? It's not always about that. I can always get to that later on, but generally I haven't used anything that would be net deck or meta, or maybe I have by accident. You know, with green it might have been a little better than I was expecting, but I was still just using it on my main primary instinct of whatever I feel like doing. Which is just to have, like, really good, efficient cost things, like, you know, 5 mana 10/10 and Galta and stuff like that, like the original Galta at least. And then I was excited to see the new Galta, but then that one almost felt too strong, so I almost felt bad for using it. No, something about that Brawl format doesn't even seem right then, because it's not letting me use a lot of the fun cards that I would really like to use. Immediately cucking the one mechanic that I'm using, unless I'm somehow missing something with it. Because it's not like most of these cards are even that good that they would really break the format. This at least gets you off on a better foot, especially with respect to if I get multiple out at once. I just have to hit you for 10 turns with these 2 invisible stalkers, which for some reason I might actually be able to do. Damn, that actually looks pretty sick. Like a maelstrom. Some of these are not mere lands. They actually like tell a whole story of what the fuck is going on. Or it'll be like a city that's supposed to be a plane. So you can't take some of them too literally. Imagine still having this in there though when I was trying to make this one a little more efficient and low cost. 6 mana, 4/5. Okay, go here. You know, if they don't have an answer for these, and if they don't have healing, so they have to not have AoEs, they have to not have healing, and they have to not have kind of like a better board that they could beat me within a quick period of time, and also any kind of AoE just overall, even if it's not just a damage value, it could just be one that just destroys everything on the board, period. But no, like that could be the condition. Like, even if you're a try-hard best player of this game ever, try to make a deck with only hexproof minions in there, either hexproof and ward, and what's the best possible deck you can make, and you might realize it's not actually that good, because if you're not allowed to use anything else, you can see that I'm pretty much doing that already. I'm using basically like every single hexproof minion in the game, because there aren't as many as you would really like. Which is kind of surprising with how many cards this game actually does have. Even excluding what might be an online and not this game, it's still a little bit underwhelming. That's how it was in early Hearthstone, that the elusive thing was not at all very common. But see, this just isn't going to be fast enough. You would almost have to buff one with one of the various buffs that are also not very good, that are also Thought Not Seer. You would have to, what do you call it? You would still have to have something more than this. If I can get all 4 of them out and get them all the stick, and it wouldn't necessarily have taken that long to do, but I'm just not getting... We're still getting Mana Screw. That's unbelievable, even after all this. Okay, that's maybe lucky, but it's also just pretty likely that you should get some of these lower cost cards. And I only have 2 of the fairies, so I won't be able to do much beyond that. But I'd love it if he just didn't somehow have an answer for this. But no, I'll never get past some of these mindsets that people have. It's especially common in MMOs. It's common kind of in everything, but it's not always about a zero-sum mentality of always just trying to... It is about trying to win, but it's, again, there's sometimes a preference that you have along the way that not everybody is always going to be doing the same thing. But I guess the majority of people do still think like that. But then it's like, how hard is that really to do? You know what I mean? Don't you just do that and then you're done with it and you get bored of it? Like, how many times could you do it? So like, let's say, okay, the first month of an expansion, I would do that. And then I just need 5 more turns of this. Every expansion I would do it the first month to get Mythic or whatever. And then, you know, with the meta deck. And then the other 3 months or whatever, I would just use something else because I want to have, you know, mess around with some fun iteration of it or something else entirely. You can't always just be doing that all the time, but this game is certainly deep enough where you would expect that. Or, you know, that could be a fun way to do it. Like, every month use a different color. So I'll use, like, the first month of an expansion, I'll try to make a green deck and get it to Mythic. Then the second one, I'll try to do a red deck, then a blue deck, then just skip white because it sucks anyway. Yeah, that's what this really is a masochistic enterprise of just me forcing myself to use these 2 colors. Which, again, it's not even a question of their quality, it's just my own preference of style of play, but it's interesting how blue can represent that both ways, like... yeah, I mean, you heal a little bit and it's already over. Like, blue can be, as much as I don't like using spells myself, it also embodies the anti-spell mentality of using hexproof, so I can just embrace that instead. So it at least has two sides of the same coin, so I still do end up enjoying it that way. It's all about spells, but even about negating spells too, because green didn't have too many hexproof cards. White doesn't have too many, so you're kind of forced to use blue anyway, which I kind of was using a little bit before with the whole hybrid mentality. Okay, we're obviously going to lose. I was just trying to showcase this one if it was a little better, just in the context of, you know, having multiple copies of these lower cost things, and at least I got the dividends on Invisible Stalker, that we did get 3 of them so early, just by virtue of having 4. But I thought I might have already had a couple in the other one too. It's not like I don't have multiple copies of certain things. Okay, dude. Breaker of Creation. When you cast the spell, you gain 1 life for each colorless permanent you control. But no, that's what Legacy, I'm pretty sure, is meant to be in, like, online. That it's not just that you can use the older cards, it's that you can only use older cards to maybe a certain degree. Fuck, I'm not gonna say goodbye to the Invisible Stalker ever, dude. Okay, fine, dude. We're very impressed. Let me look at my other deck, though. Don't I have multiple copies of stuff anyway? Maybe just not always the lower cost ones. Yeah, I sometimes do trigger people with how I choose to play stuff. But again, I've enjoyed the experience generally. Even if, again, I don't like some of these colors, that's still just a preference. That doesn't mean that I don't enjoy some of these mechanics. Yeah, you already have like 4 of those. Or wait, is this the one I just made, or? Oh no, this is the same one. I want to see the other one. This has, yeah, it already has 4 Invisible Stalkers though. So the fact that I happened to get 3 of them there was just dumb luck that I could have gotten in any of these other games. Let me actually read through some of what he said again. That was kind of interesting. White looks for crusade type effects, or does he mean crusade? Anthems that buff. Yeah, what is Anthem? Let's see. Besides a game that I had done a first playthrough permadeath of involving those fucking mechs that kind of was dead and nobody seemed to actually like it. Anthem. Glorious Anthem. Okay, that's actually not bad, but it's still a little expensive. But no, that's not a bad one for sure. Just more like if it was single target and a little less expensive, or if there were kind of a lot more of them. Why not remove everything they play and control the field? Again, that's kind of the opposite of my typical preferred style of play, at least. Upset by counter magic. On ladder, but you're literally, yeah, but see, again, you can play like sort of unranked too, can't you? In the same, even like in timeless, but I sometimes don't see the point of that. Right, to me, it's kind of just the same thing, because again, you're playing kind of a low rank. If you, yeah, just play. If you just do timeless play, let me actually just see the difference, right? Like let me give it one more shot. Okay, so we'll play timeless, use every card in Magic Arena. So this is unranked, right? So this is effectively the same idea as Brawl then, if that's not. I'm not sure the Brawl really has all the kind of cards that I would enjoy or want to use though. So this will be playing off the ladder, and I might do better here, but again, it's not really that big of a difference to me. People are playing to win. Other people aren't playing by my made-up rules. Oh, I missed that, I think, actually. But that's the whole point, is that I have that sense of honor, integrity, or at least gimmickry, that it doesn't matter if people are playing by my rules, but I am. So that's the internal hard mode that I built in, like in chess. I'm still better than 70% of people, apparently, on the chess in the world, even though I still choose to... Yeah, but people might be using more gimmick stuff here, but they probably still won't. They'll still be try-harding even in unranked. But no, it's like, you know, that's my internal hard mode that I apply to everything. I'm not going to study openings. I'm not going to, you know, use the optimal lines, but I'll still be better than the majority of people in chess, at least, to whatever extent that matters. Everybody else is studied. Everybody else is maybe try-harding a little bit, even at the low rank. But I'll still do it. Yeah, this one doesn't seem that much more impressive, though, than the deck I was already using. It's basically the same exact thing. But yeah, or even let me host my own mode that involves made-up rule sets, because you'd be able... Oh, shit. I can still do it after, can't I? Yeah, it won't let me attack now, but... Where you can't have a format, like, you're only allowed to use these certain cards, or this certain rule set, or, you know, again, only X cost cards. You can only use cards up to 6 costs, and nothing higher, and just all these random kind of formats that could be very fun and interesting, kind of like, again, almost like chess variants or whatever. But what you would do is you would realize that you could still be competitive in that context. It's just like, let me host my own game, and if anybody wants to join with that, then let me do it. If not, then it's fine. It's like, you know, it's not going to split the community and mess anything up, because it's just, it should always be an option that you have. That so many other games have that, and I don't know why it's so uncommon in card games, where, you know, you can just choose some other weird criteria that you want to use, where you're hosting your own custom game. Deal 5 damage to creature planeswalker. You have the ward. Sometimes it'll let you misplay that too, right? Like, it'll let you actually still waste the mana. It won't just, like, not let you do it. Which is kind of interesting for a game that sort of has all this automation to it, that it would let you actually do that. This one's actually kind of cool looking. Is this them trying to copy the beach expansion about to come out in Hearthstone too? The fucking, whatever it's called. I forgot already. Something Paradise, Perils in Paradise. But just the timing and the namesake of those two expansions was very dubious, like Murder at Castle Nathria to Murder at Karlov Manor, and then something to do with the Badlands and like the Western vibe, and then you have obviously the Thunder Junction. That picture looks a little bit silly. Okay, let's see what they do. It is hard for me to judge how good these decks they are using even are. Maybe I'll just farm people in Timeless all the way. Right, this will at least make it. This might actually not be a bad idea, but I don't know if I really care about that too much. You can't judge it that much just from one game. I'm sure people will still be tryharding all the way. Add 1 mana of any color. Because, like, yeah, why couldn't people just be using good decks in this too? It would just be by preference. It's not that hard to build up a collection. Like, even in the relatively short amount of time I play it, or maybe I'm just patient like that, I would be able to still, you know, I surely could have made a meta deck, mythic caliber deck numerous times over by now with all the wild cards that I've gotten. So it's not a question of that. It wouldn't be that hard. Or it could just be people who are literally playing their first couple games, but it somehow doesn't seem like it. Right, whatever they're using at least has some cohesion to it. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens, it creates twice that many. Okay. You know, it's one of two things. Either you want to challenge yourself, like, let me try to make a deck with only minions and no spells, or let me try to make, which is impossible because even creatures are technically spells, but whatever. Or let me make a deck with only tokens, or only this, or only that. So on one hand, you want to just challenge yourself to that, or you want to try something fun or interesting as a theme or a gimmick that you want to fit into first and foremost above anything else, above simply the zero-sum desire to win. Right, you want to have certain preferences that, oh, you just like playing this way, or you like using a certain thing. So I actually win that one relatively easily, so maybe this is actually the secret. Just play unranked, which I generally don't like to do. Because, of course, people are tryharding even at low ranks. That's like a MOBA thing. It won't even let you play in ranked until you've gotten to like level 50 or played it for a super long time. But, like, what is the purpose of a low rank then? The whole point is you could be a new player playing your first game ever, and yes, you should play ranked. You should play on the ladder. You know why? Because there's still a bottom of the ladder for a reason. So we lose sight of this with all this try-hard hysteria that people do. Like, play at the bottom of the ladder at bronze rank, at, you know, silver rank, and it shouldn't be that competitive, and it should still be, you know, very suitable. it's not that big of a deal, but I guess people lose sight of that, or sometimes the matchmaking is a little bit, is that only the first orb that I've gotten, though? That's pretty fucking hard to believe. Holy cow. What are the other ones I could choose? No. Ah, fuck, I didn't mean to even do that. Ankle biter. No, I should have gotten the holy cow one. This is like one of those gimmick meme type things. Right, meme design. Like a pun is used to inform the design of cards. But this game is too serious and hardcore for that. Like PvZ Heroes does that, Hearthstone does that a lot. Okay, so I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh didn't often do that. And then we get that Sue ship that has like a fucking paragraph long flavor text to it. Okay, see you tomorrow.